Oh, it's Friday. Means only one thing. What year is that? It's an iconic top from what iconic year. Yeah, it was actually the year that I left school. It's a long time ago, and yeah, it's not my original one, because my original one when I was that age would have been a bit tight on me today. So in today's Celtic FC news, we're talking about, in fact, says Haksabanovic says that there's more room in his locker for more medals. Celtic boss Ange Postecoglou has been linked, or Tottenham Hotspur, it's inevitable, will look at Ange Postecoglou. They can look all they want. He is not going anywhere. He's going nowhere. Let that be said on this channel. He will not be going to Tottenham Hotspur. Not a chance. Celtic have been linked with a midfield player who wants Champions League football next season. There could be a bit of meat on the bone with this transfer one, because he is only 20-year-old. But will the manager be looking for more experience as we go into the Champions League next year? This is one of the questions that I think will be getting asked, and we'll look at the comments, and then also the comments come from yesterday's video. Yesterday's video was all about the new first team scouts that Celtic have got. So if you haven't seen that video, I'll put a link up here for it, and I'll put a link at the end of the video. So Celtic have been linked with a midfield player who wants Champions League football. And the fact that Celtic are looking will go straight into the Champions League next year again. They seem to have received a boost for highly rated Swiss international Ardon Jashiri. Well, I've pronounced that right. I probably pronounced it wrong. I pronounced everything else wrong, so why would I pronounce that right? Anyway, he's the captain of his team. Has reportedly told his agent he wants to be playing Champions League football next season. It appears the 20-year-old has one condition when finding a new club this summer. He's been attracting interest across Europe. He was included in the Switzerland national squad at the World Cup, which means Ange Postecoglou will probably know about him. The likes of Leeds, Leipzig are just two of the clubs that have been credited with interest, so is Porto and Celtic. Celtic appears to have been linked with the upcoming midfield prospect. Do we really need another midfield prospect in the heart of that midfield, or do we need a bit more experience? This is the question that I think Ange will be asking himself, especially as we go into the Champions League. There's a report from a Swiss newspaper saying that the player is looking to increasingly leave during the summer window, and that he's expressed interest in testing himself at Europe's elite club competition and would like to join a club that regularly features in the Champions League. Celtic looks certain to lift their second consecutive title this year. Who would have thought Ange would do two in a row when he first came in? Should they achieve that feat? Jesus. Ange Postecoglou's team will automatically go into the Champions League. And down south, and there is a Scottish paper actually been talking about it. It's not really a thing down south. I've never seen anybody down south talking about it. But it looks like the Tottenham Hotspur manager might be getting his books, might be getting his jackets on a sugary peg, as they say. And they are saying that Tottenham Hotspur are likely to consider Ange Postecoglou as a candidate to replace Antonio Conte. Likely. When are the media going to get it? Anyway, says Haksabanovic, who scored an absolute screamer at the weekend. The winner didn't shy away from talk of a domestic treble being added to the trophy cabinet at Parkhead this summer. Some players walk through the door at Celtic Park and the pressure hits them like a dose of, some people can't handle the pressure. Haksabanovic strolled up, and you can tell that when it was a player that you knew had something about him. He says when it comes to demanding trophies, he says you have to achieve a certain style. You've got to remember, this guy's only 23. He's only 23-year-old, and I think that's what we forget. I keep irritating this on the videos, but we do have such a young squad. For the Swedish village that he grew up, he didn't make the breakthrough at West Ham. He played in Spain, he moved to Russia, and that's where Celtic came in and picked him up. Obviously, with the nonsense that's going on over there, Celtic managed to get him on the cheap. And he basically says when he came to Celtic, there was a winning spirit. And you know how important it is to win at Celtic. You can feel it when you come in. Some players struggle with that, he said. He loves it. It's as simple as that. So you have to have that mentality. He says after winning the Vidplay Cup, he's hungry for more. Talking about trebles can sometimes earn a player a side tackle from the press officer. But the winger went on to say the League Cup final was amazing, and I think with the fact that Daizen could be out for a while, it looks interesting that he could come in, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how he produces it. The Montenegrin international got his first bit of Celtic with Celtic, and I just think it's going to be funny. It's going to be good. What a time to be a Celtic fan. Back to the transfer talk. Will we bring in this 20-year-old striker? The midfield player, sorry. I think bringing him in could be good, but I think Ange might be going for experience this summer. It has been noted that it is an important summer for us, the fact that we're going straight into the Champions League again. And to be fair, we never turned up in the Champions League last year, but I think Ange would want to make his mark and at least finish a third. And on that note, we'll jump over to the comments of yesterday's video about the first team scout. Sean went on to say, if Maeda's out of action for a wee bit, Haksa has an opportunity to stake a claim for a first team place, such as the strength of our squad. It's exactly what I just said. Lee Morrison says the club will never change the business model. I hope Ange has said to Lawwell that if he gets it right, i.e. scouts, coaches, whatever he needs basically, then he will have no reason to leave. He has everything necessary at his disposal. Speedy recovery, Daizen, that is very true. Stuart Ramsey says, even on crutches, Daizen is still quicker than everybody in the SPFL. That's quality, Stuart. That's definitely made the video. Take says, I hope Maeda gets better very quick. Ange is brilliant. The other guys are too. I fully agree. Celtic FC will never be a top contender for the Champions League. There's just too much money and talent in better populated cities wise. If Ange can get it right, you have to remember that Porto were nothing. When Mourinho was at Porto back in 2003 and they done us, and then they went on the next season to do the Champions League, I think it can be done, but you have to have that right balance of young enthusiasm with old heads. You know, I mean, look at Real Madrid. They've got a 37-year-old player still running about doing his business on a weekly basis, and they're actually wanting him to stay. And he's talking about retiring, but they want him to stay next season. Donny Boy says, hopefully it's precautionary crutches. Yep, I hope so too. Kevin Carrick says the crutches are for precaution. Hope it's not serious. That gives Haksabanovic a good. And then Donny Boy says progress in Europe next season, starting with the Europa League semi-final or even final, is even better. But you've got to remember, when we got to Seville in 2003, we dropped down out of the Champions League and everybody thought it was going to be a disaster. And then we went on that good run in Europe. Brown Warrior says, interesting that Robbie Nielsen had plenty to say about Bernabe, but failed to mention Xander Clark putting one on Maeda. It's just the way that Scottish media is. And the final one will go to Mark D. Appreciate your realistic comment regarding the Champions League and Celtic. Cheers, mate. And on that note, we'll call this video, we'll wrap this up. It's going to be exciting next weekend. It is, I think it's an international break next weekend, but we'll be doing videos just as normal, but from a different location. If you haven't seen the video from yesterday about the new first team scout, check it out here.
Lit. Roll up to the party, roll up to the party.